Hello, this is your Module 1 review for pre-algebra. We're going to keep calm today and prepare for the test. We're going to do it by practicing questions. So what you're going to do is take a look at the questions, pause me, try the questions out, and then play for the solutions, and we'll go page by page like that so that you'll be ready for your unit exam. First up, you're going to be rounding each number as indicated. So $709.60 to the nearest dollar, and 602 and 4,937 10,000ths. You're going to round that to the hundredths place. And number 2, you're going to write 306 and 10,000ths in numbers. Okay, now that you've had a chance to try it, let's take a look. We're going to round to the dollar. So this is our dollars place, the ones place, and we're going to be using the decimal beside the 6. The 6 will push the 9 up to become a 10. So we're going to be rounding this to $710. And you can write it as 710 or 710.00. That works too. For B, we're rounding to the hundredths place. The 4 is in the tenths place. The 9 is in the hundredths place. So we're going to be looking next door to the right at the 3. The 3 will not push the 9 up, so the 9 is going to stay the same. So everything to the left is going to be copied. The 9 will stay the same, and because we're on the decimal side, we're going to drop the 3 and the 7. We do not change them into zeros. So you'll have 602 and 49 hundredths. For number 2, we're writing 306 and 10,000ths in numbers. So 306 and 10,000ths. We have tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So we have 10,000ths. So we're going to be filling up with zeros there. So we're going to have 306 decimal 001, and then because they asked us to go the 10,000ths, I am going to keep that 0 out there. Question number 3, you're asked to multiply decimals. Remember, count your decimal places for the first number and your multiplier, the second number. Add those together and then rewrite to multiply as though there's no decimals at all. Make it easier on yourself. When you get your answer, you're going to count that same number of decimal places. So you can pause me, try it, and then watch the solution. Okay, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 places for my first number and 2 more places for my second number. So 3 and 2 means I'm going to be counting 5 decimal places in my answer. So 5 decimal places. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore all the zeros and decimals, and I'm going to put the 544. So I'm going to write it like it's 544. I'm going to put that up top. And I'm going to take the 6 as my multiplier because that will make my amount of rows for multiplication much easier. So I'm going to go ahead now. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 2 is 26. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 2 is 32. And I'm done. But I have the 5 decimal places. So from the right, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put my decimal, add 1 0, put a 0 to hold the ones place. And I can write this so that it looks a little bit nicer. So I'm going to have 0.03264 as the result. For number 4, you're asked to take a mixed number and divide it by a whole number. Remember, mixed numbers, they're no good for multiplication and division. So you're going to change that to an improper fraction, including the 8. You're going to change to an improper fraction. And remember, there's no such thing as division. You're going to have to keep, change, and flip. So you can pause the video and then check out the solution. All right, so we're going to take this 11 1/5 and we're going to change this to an improper fraction. 5 times 11 is 55, plus 1 is 56 over 5, divided by 8 over 1. We're going to change this now to 56 over 5 times 1/8. Let's look to cross reduce. 5 and 1 we have nothing, but 8 and 56 we can definitely divide. 8 divided by 8 is 1, and 56 divided by 8 is 7. Now we can multiply numerators. 7 times 1 is 7, and multiply your denominator. 5 times 1 is 5. We can't leave our answer as an improper fraction. Let's change it to a mixed number. 5 goes into 7 one time, with 2 remaining out of the 5. 1 2/5 is our result. Number 5, we've got a mixed number times a proper fraction. Again, because we're multiplying here, just like division, we can't have a mixed number. Change to improper, and then go ahead and multiply with the proper fraction. Look to cross reduce. You can pause the video, try it, and then I'll show the solution. All right, let's take a look. We're going to change this to an improper fraction. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13 over 5, multiplied by 5 over 9. We don't care that the denominators are different. We're going to look to cross reduce. We have a 5 and a 5, so those two are going to cancel each other. We divide them both by 5. 13 and 9, there's nothing there, so we can go ahead and multiply now. 13 times 1 is 13. 1 times 9 is 9. And let's change this back to a mixed number. 9 goes into 13 once, with 4 remaining out of 9. 1 4/9. Number 6 is decimal division. We're going to round our answer to the nearest hundredth. What we need to be very careful about is when we set up our long division to not flip the numbers in the wrong order. We have 4.7 divided by 9.3. The 9.3 is the divisor. That one, even though it's larger, goes on the outside. So your second number goes on the outside. If it's written in fraction format, the denominator is your divisor. That goes on the outside. The 4.7 goes in. And we know we can't divide with decimals as a divisor. So we're going to move that decimal out one place and accordingly move the decimal one place in our dividend. So this decimal is going to be here. And I'm going to pop a couple zeros in right off the bat so that I can get myself dividing. I look at it now as 93 into 47. But then with zeros, more like 4,700. The decimal's there, but we kind of ignore the decimal. So we go ahead. 93 does not go into 4 or 7, so we can fill up a 0 to hold the ones place. And then we're going to be looking at 470. 93 goes into 470 5 times. 5 times 93 is 465. So we're going to subtract there, and we're going to subtract it out. So I'm going to borrow here. 10 minus 5 is 5, and I'm going to bring down this 0. Now 93 does not go into 50, so I'm going to put a 0 there. And because I have to round to the hundredths, I have to go one step beyond the hundredths. So I'm in the hundredths place right here, but I need to go to the thousandths place in order to know what I need to round. So I'm going to add another 0, and I'm going to bring it down, getting 500. We see that 93 goes into 500 again 5 times. 6 is too high. We're going to end up with 465. And then, of course, we can borrow if we're curious to see what the result is going to be, which will be 35. but we can stop at this point because we've got the digit we need in order to do the rounding. So this 5 in the thousandths place is going to round the 0 up. It's going to push it up. So our answer here is going to be 0.51 rounded to the hundredths place. Number 7, you're going to write 40.035 in words using the appropriate vocabulary. And number 8, you're going to be adding unlike fractions. You can pause the video and I'll show the solution. Number 7, we're writing in words. So we have 40 and, which shows our decimal, and we have 35. So we go right to the number that we see, 35, and then we make sure we know our place value. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, so we put down the thousandths where we end up. So it's 40 and 35 thousandths. For adding our unlike fractions, we need a common denominator. The lowest common denominator here is going to be 24. So that means we will multiply 6 times 4 and 5 times 4 and 8 times 3 and 7 times 3. So I'm going to rewrite now. 20 over 24 plus 21 over 24 equals 41 over 24. And let's make sure that this is a mixed number in lowest terms. So 24 goes into 41 once, and 41 minus 24 is 17. So our remainder is 17 out of 24. And 17 is prime, so we have our lowest terms, 1 and 17/24. Number 9, we're adding mixed numbers with unlike denominators. Number 10, we're subtracting with like denominators. You can pause the video and give these a try. Number 9, we have a couple approaches. I'm going to show the carrying approach. First up, I don't actually know if I need to carry until I change my denominators to be like. So 3 does make 9, so I only need to change my first fraction. So that's going to give me 2 and 3/9 plus 4 and 7/9. I'm going to add my whole numbers. 2 plus 4 is 6. And I'm going to add my numerators. 3 plus 7 is 10. So I have 6 and 10/9. 10/9 as a mixed number is 1 and 1/9. And we add on the 6, giving us 7 and 1/9. Alternatively, you can change your mixed numbers that are like to improper fractions and add them. So I'm going to show that method. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 3 is 21/9. And 9 times 4 is 36, plus 7 is 43 over 9. And then you can add these numbers together. So we're going to end up with 64 over 9. Whoops, over 9, not over 4. And now we divide up. 9 goes into 64 7 times with 1 left over. So we end up with the same answer if we carry or if we change to improper fractions. Number 10, we just keep our denominator. 6 minus 2 is 4, and we reduce the fraction to lowest terms. Whoa, divide by 4, goodness. Equals 1/2. If you divide by 2, you just have to divide by 2 again. It happens. So this is the first of 2 videos, possibly 3 videos. So you can go to the next video for more practice in Module 1.